Hi, this is SimplexX, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to pull assets and skins out of the War Thunder CDK. The War Thunder CDK, there's a link inside of this posting that'll show you how to download it yourself. It's the content development kit, and it covers basically all the content that's in the game and makes it available or exposes what's actually available on your computer so that you can browse it and modify it. This tutorial is just going to go over assets that are skinnable. I'm not going to talk about 3D modeling or 3D models. So there's actually a lot of different skins that exist in the CDK that have not been exposed. You can access levels and airfields and everything else. When you first boot the CDK, you'll see this menu structure come over here and everything that's opened inside of GameRes. Today I'm going to be concentrating on aircrafts and aircraft collateral. So if you open up aircrafts, so it's the third one down, you'll see all the aircrafts available in the game, as well as some extra skin material on the outside. So for let's say today that we want to do a MiG. MiGs are one of my favorite jets to play around with, so everybody that knows me knows that I'll probably be working on a MiG-15. You can go in here and you can actually see all the components involved in a MiG. If you want to, you can actually download all the parts available inside of a cockpit associated with the MiG-15, and you can modify them, as well as glass and a bunch of other things that are inside of here, so you can actually peruse here. You'll notice the standard USSR MiG that is in here is here. Typically, underscore A stands for the aircraft, and underscore N stands for the spectral map. So these are the shiny, glossy versus flat mixtures for the backgrounds. So, by the way, I'm assuming going into this video that you essentially know how to put on skins. If you don't, there's a how to skin your planes inside of the guide, as well as a bunch of other beginner manuals. This is fairly advanced. So here's the standard skin associated with the MiG-15 BIS, and you'll notice that the German one is in here as well. So if you have the Russian one and you want to throw the German one on, you can extract this and put it on. And you'll notice that there's other ones that haven't even been exposed in the game yet. Like there's a Chinese MiG. This one has never been posted as far as I can tell. I posted this one a little while ago when it showed up. Um, so, but they're fairly plain skins anyway. So you can extract these actually and go ahead and push them out. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the extraction process. And then once I show you how to do that, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to modify a BLK to utilize these different skins. Okay, so for today, let's look at actually extracting a full Chinese or full skin. Okay, so we're going to do this one because I've never actually extracted it before. Now, the the trick to pulling these out is there's an export function and a bunch of other things that don't seem to work with the CDK. If they do, I haven't been able to figure it out, and I haven't seen any documents or guides where people have been able to figure it out. So it would be extremely awesome if you could actually just export them at some point in time. But until that becomes available, one of the guys has posted a guide on creating cockpits on the guide system, yeah, and that's actually in the guide section. It's a great guide, and basically that's also he posts the same information of how to extract things. This is similar to that. You can use that guide to pull out a cockpit. You can use this guide to pull out a cockpit, or you can use this guide to go ahead and pull out a full skin. So the trick is you want to keep the skin at the full resolution, which is 2048 by 2048. So we're going to go up here to settings, and we're going to set our camera settings. Sorry, our screenshot settings. And you want to make sure they're maxed out at 2048 and 2048. You want to say that save as JPEG is off. You want to make sure the quality is 100%. and you want to make this as high as it'll go, which is 1024 by 1024. Okay? Then once you do that, the other important thing here is it's really important to turn off the stretch feature. The stretch feature will make the image, no matter how big or small it is, fit the screen. And so for 500 by 500 images or 64 by 64 images, it's really nice because it fits in here and then the screenshot will just take it. So this is the tricky part. If you do stretch image, you won't be able to see the whole image at once, and so you'll have to move it around to see it. But if you want the full resolution, you don't want the skin to look like garbage. You have to basically get the whole thing. So what you want to do is make your screen as big as possible so you can get as much content as you can on the screen, and set your resolution as high as possible. Maybe if you have an ultra big monitor with a great resolution, then you can take advantage of this. Okay. So the other thing you want to do is you can grab this with your mouse by left clicking on it and dragging it around. You want to make sure it's absolutely dragged as far as possible up into this corner by pulling it down. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and do a screenshot. And then we're going to move it up a third of the way up. We're going to do another screenshot. And then we're going to move it all the way up so that we get this corner. Again, make sure there's no pixels missing. It's all the way flush. And do another screenshot. Then we're going to go up to the far right corner. Do the same thing. Drag it all the way down. There we go. We're up there completely. Screenshot. And then a third of the way up, making sure that it's flush against this side, the left side. Then a screenshot. And then all the way up to the lower right hand corner is there, a screenshot. And you probably have figured out what's happening here, but we're gonna have to tile this all together to get a perfect image. Okay, so if you go into the War Thunder CDK, once you install the War Thunder CDK, it's going to create a subdirectory inside of your War Thunder directory. So again, all you skinners should already know how to get to your War Thunder directory. It's in your PC, Program Files, War Thunder, unless it's in Steam, and then it may be in a different directory. Inside of your War Thunder directory, you'll have a War Thunder CDK directory once you install it. So we go in here. Whenever you do a screenshot, it just puts it in the root directory. So the more you do, the more they'll be in here. So for right now, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do this all in GIMP. You can do the same thing in Photoshop, but GIMP's free and makes it easier for beginners to use. So I'm going to load up GIMP. Let me close all these other programs I have going on right here. We do not need any of these loaded. This one. Okay, so now you'll notice we have an image that's 2048 by 2048, which is War Thunder's default highest resolution, which is great. But the image is not complete. Okay, so let's go ahead and drag the next one in, and we're going to drag the next one in. Actually, I'll show you a little trick. If you're dragging images into GIMP, the best way to make sure that they're aligned when you drag them in is to drag them into the layer bar directly. And then they'll all be in the exact right place. Alright. Okay. So all of our layers are in here. They're just stacked on top of each other. You can see as we start to unpeel the onion, all the layers will be showing up there. Alright, so we're going to start with layer 1. That's where we want it to be. Let's lock it down. Now we're going to go to layer 2. And we're going to go ahead and expose this. So I would move it above layer 1 so we can actually see it. And we want to move this down to the right place. Now you can see right there, that's kind of where it lines up. And over here, we want to make sure it lines up with the edge. So I'm going to zoom in and head right over to the edge. Sorry, head right over to the edge. And then I'm going to go down here a little bit where the transparency is still showing. We'll click on the image and move it over. Okay, so now we know we don't have to move it horizontally anymore. And then we want to see right up here, this is the vertical alignment. And we should pick an area where it's easier to see, you know, a conversion spot. So this is clearly out of alignment still. And if we move it up, you can see all those things coming together and boom. That looks like it's perfectly in alignment. Yeah, so that's the alignment right there. You can see just by looking at the parts, you can get a pretty good eye level. Okay, so we'll move that one up. Now let's move to image number 3. We're going to make it visible. And image number 3 was the bottom left. So let's grab it and bring it all the way down. Okay, there we are. So you can see that's where it's lining up. Nice thing about corner images, so we only have 2 images that we have to do any guesswork at all. The corner images themselves are going to line up with the corner. So let's just put it so that we can see the corner still. And then we'll go all the way down and all the way over. And then highlight the image, and we'll use the arrow keys to seal those gaps there. All right, and we just double check up here at the seam. And there's the seam. Now, yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Image number 4. Turn that one on. We'll drag that up there. Again, we did upper, middle, and lower left. Now we're going up to upper right. It's a corner image, so we can just leave a little bit of transparency up there. And we'll zoom in. So is this a pain? Yes, it's a pain, but as you can see, with a little bit of proficiency, it's not too bad. And use the arrow keys, and we'll lock it down. All right, let's move to the next one. All right. This one's going to be the center one, so this is the only other one where we have to guess a little bit on the alignment. And that looks pretty close. So let's get the horizontal lined up first, or sorry, the vertical lined up first, or horizontal lined up first, yeah. If you click this button over here, it goes over a little bit. That's locked in. All right, so now you don't want to touch the mouse anymore, and you don't want to touch the left and right key, so you just want to go up and down. And we go move it up until that gets sealed. That looks right. So you can see the fins in this area and this area all seem to be lining up. And going one more seems wrong, going one down seems wrong, so we can lock that in. And the last one, we're going to move to the top. And you can see we still have the bottom right hole missing. So we'll make that one visible. We'll drag it all the way down. And make sure that we're in the lower right hand corner. Move that so that we can see a little bit of each. And then come down, come over, highlight the image, and arrow key 1, 2, 3, and boom, those are sealed in. So now let's go ahead and zoom all the way back out. And there's our image. Looks pretty perfect, right? So let's auto crop our image. Oops, sorry. Let's do this. Let's create a new layer from visible. And I'm going to turn all these layers off. And now our image we can auto crop. Okay, good. And now I'm going to take this image and put it aside for a second. So let's hold off on this. Let's go back into War Thunder. And we're going to, that error dialog's me playing with the hanger files. And once I'm done with this section, I'll show you a little bit more about the CDK, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about the BLKs when we actually go to install it. But this will take 1 second to open. All right. Good. Okay, so we're this is a custom MIG that one of my skins for the African Mali MIG. Actually, really like it a lot, but it wasn't super popular. Anyway, okay, so we're going to take this MIG and we're going to change it to a Chinese design. So let's go to Customize Graphics just like we normally would. And we're going to go ahead and disable this like we normally would. I'm going to use the wand to create a generic file in the MIG folder. Yes, I have a ton of skins, I'm aware. Alright, and then I'm going to open up our standard user directory. So let's just go to our normal user skin directory. So program files, War Thunder, user skins. And we happen to be sitting inside of the German MIG. So let's go down to the German MIG file. And we have all these generic files that we just made. So let's create a new one. We're going to call it New Chinese CDK Skin. Alright, let's copy all the files that were created just now. Since, if you don't have all these garbage, well, not garbage skins, but if you don't have all these skins in here, you won't have all these other folders. So now we're working inside of this subdirectory for our skin. Alright, and the first thing I want to do is, we know that the name of our file is going to have to be this one right here. Okay, so let's copy that name. As always, again, everybody here should know about skins, but you have the regular skin and the damaged skin and the regular spectral map and the damaged spectral map. So you can also download those from the CDK. So now we've got this file. We know it's there. We're going to go to File, Export. For all you Photoshop users, you may not understand why we have to do all this weirdness, but this is the way GIMP works. All right, we're going to go find our War Thunder directory and our user skin directory, and then go into our MIG German directory. And now we have this new Chinese directory that we put in there, and we will click on that TGA file. And you're more than welcome to do a DSS. Actually, with all this red and yellow, let's just do a DSS. No, let's not. I'm not going to complicate it for those who don't know how to do DSS yet, or DDS. Okay, so let's stick with TGA. We're going to highlight it, and we're going to export it right on top of the existing TGA file. Don't turn on compression for TGA files. That'll make War Thunder work a lot faster. Otherwise, you'll have people with 15 or 30-second delays before they can fly their planes in. Half the game's over. All right, so let's go find our file. It should be under the German section, and then under Chinese. Where did we put that? Do we see that in here? New Chinese. Sorry. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't refresh. Let's refresh that list and check it out. There it is. Sorry, I hadn't refreshed. I apologize about the delay. I'll see if I can cut that out. And there we go. So I've never actually downloaded this skin before, and we just pulled it right out of the CDK. It's nice and fresh, and it's got Chinese writing on it, which is really cool. It's a slick looking skin. Did a good job on it. You can see, because we didn't overwrite the spectral maps, the old German spectral maps with the rondels and everything are still showing through. But not a problem. You can pull those out too if you want to. So there we go. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. And you don't have to modify the BLKs or anything like that to work on that. This classic red, yellow bleeding is not because it's low res or it's a garbage image. It's just TGAs do not handle this color combination very well. So I would highly recommend that you add the DDS add-in into GIMP or Photoshop and start saving these out as DDS. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and finish the video there. Actually, you know what? Let me show you a little bit more about the CDK. I want to show you a couple of cool things. So, as I said, there's some really neat files in here that you normally wouldn't have access to. So I'm just going to show you. Everybody always says there's no good MiG-9 skins, and there's not a lot by default. As a matter of fact, the default MiG-9 skin, I apologize if the original skin maker for this is listening and feels bad, but this is almost like a fuzzy velveteen type, texture here. They did a lot of work on the rivets, and obviously I've never designed an aircraft skin from scratch, so I'm not going to complain. These guys always do an amazing job getting all the pieces lined up and everything. It's obviously a hell of a lot of work. But this texture is not my favorite texture, especially when you look at something like the MiG-15 skin that they put on later. So, but if you look through here, there's quite a few MIG textures that you can just pull out and add on yourself, or share with other people if you wanted to do that. I think there's a lot of people that have been interested in just going off and putting these other skins on. So look at this. This is a MiG-9 skin that's sitting in the CDK and not exposed at all. And it's not something you can even get. Here's a nice Chinese MiG. Same velveteen texture, but it's in there. This is one of the skins I extracted and then changed to use the gray and the orange deserts camo. Just a beautiful camo though. Look at that, design, and it's not available. You can't buy it. You can't do anything with it, and it's sitting right here inside of the CDK. These files right here, most people don't know about, but these are the fuel tank files. So if you make a nice skin for the MiG-15 late, and your fuel tanks are coming out weird colors because they don't show up with the skin files, you can extract this from the CDK and then reference it. So I'm going to take a second actually to talk about that, because if you pull something from the CDK that's not referenced in the skins that you make, then you're going to want to be able to modify those. So I'll do a second video on that, specifically modifying and pulling content that doesn't exist when you extract your skin files, and how to modify them, your BLKs, to be able to recognize them. Okay? And I think that's it for this video. It's gotten long enough.